I'm James and welcome to Moto Hobbit. This is the very first video I've put on YouTube, and the reason being I've got a couple of projects you might be interested in. Let's go check them out. Right, so project 1, Ducati Streetfighter 848. This is my dad's bike, but he's 73 now and he doesn't really ride, so it's found its way into my garage as a little project to work on. That's not to say it's not a bad bike, there's just a few things that we'd like to do to it to make it just a bit nicer. I mean, it's already got this Hermes on it, it's got the seat cover, it's got heated grips as well. I don't know what brand they are, they look a bit fuddy-duddy, as my wife would say, but they work, that's the main thing, keep my hands nice and warm. We took it to Silverstone for the Ducati track day a couple of years ago, hence why this thing's on it, although it's a bit flimsy, but we needed it. And what we wanted to do was fit a steering damper from a 1098 Streetfighter, and we took it to our dealer, and it turns out that the fuel tank's actually swollen, and it's plastic. I thought we just had a dodgy bit of Chinese carbon fibre on here, which is why the ignition is so tucked under it, but no, it's because the fuel tank's expanded. Wonderful. It's got some nice pegs. I don't know if these are aftermarket, but given how slippery Ducati foot pegs usually are, I would imagine so. It's got some engine bars. It's nice and clean. It's got the Ducati touring seat, which is super comfortable. Got a little carbon tank pad. And the project is essentially to swap that fuel tank over and fit a steering damper. Right, project number 2, BMW K100. My neighbour moved out, they've gone abroad, and they couldn't take this, so I managed to pick it up for a ripe old sum of £700. Now, there's no point asking me if I know if that's a good deal or not, because I don't know anything about these bikes, other than apparently this was an old car engine that they've stuck on its side. Don't know how true that is, but the previous couple of owners had tried to make it into some sort of cafe racer, and to be honest with you, it's a bit of a hunk of junk, but they had to get rid of it. I thought it was a good price, and from what I've seen online, you can make these look really cool. So that's project number 2. This is all rusty, wiring's all fallen apart. It's not really a barn find as such, but it was outside for many years. Yeah, I might have bitten off more than I can chew with this, not knowing anything about how to fix a bike. Admittedly, I've never even tightened the chain on a bike. It's always been done when I've had services on them. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. Maybe a bit of a wire brush could sort that out, a bit of a powder coat, I don't know. I'm going to learn along the way, and you guys are going to come on that journey with me. Look at the state of that, look at the throttle bodies. I don't know if you can quite see it. All the green, the grime. Clearly has had its paint stripped off and they tried to polish it, but there's just scratches all over it. It might be nice to try and make that look more like one of those, you know, when Ducatis do like the R version and it's alley tank and it's brushed. Kind of looks like it on that side, but to get a nicer finish and maybe clear coat it, it's got this little pad on there which has fallen off. Bolts missing, so this isn't really even on. Well, I can pull that out actually. It's all full of water as well. I don't even know if it works. I've put the key in and I've tried to turn it and nothing happens whatsoever. Brakes just look tired. I've pushed this about and they're really spongy and they don't really work. I've seen these bikes without this radiator guard, so I'll probably take that off because it doesn't seem to fit nicely anyway. See that the rubber's perished in here. What I want to do before I really start working on this is to get it running, but I can't get it running because, as I said, I've turned the key and absolutely nothing happens, and also this fuel cap is busted, and when I lifted it up, when I got it from the neighbour, a load of water fell out and went in the tank, so I don't really want to start it, to be honest. I think I need to take the tank off and get the water out somehow. The problem with that as well is that all these little screws are completely rusted out and they look like they've been stripped as well, so I'm going to have to maybe drill those out. or get one of those things from Amazon which you kind of like, it's like a screw remover. Maybe I'll give that a go first, but it might be hard to get to these ones. I have to just break this off. So that's the project. The 899 isn't really a project. This is a perfect bike that's been in the family since new. Absolutely brilliant. It's had a full machine polish and ceramic coat. It's got loads of different gubbins on it. It's got the Rosoma clutch and brake levers, Evotech tail tidy, Puig windscreen, Evotech lever guard. It's got a nice pair of termies on it, delicious, and some Rosoma foot pegs. Oh, and it's got the performance race seat as well, and the seat cover. Oh yeah, sorry, and an Evotech tail tidy. Blinding bike. Although it is for sale because I'm old now, and riding a bike of this calibre is frankly quite painful, and I'd rather take comfort over that at the moment. And because of that, I barely ride it, so it's in pretty good condition. I mean, it's only done 3,500 miles. It's more of a garage ornament. So there's the bikes. Let's go back to the garage and start working on one. So which bike have I decided to tackle first? And quite honestly, I think the one that interests me the most is the K100. Now, if I didn't have the K100, I'd most definitely start on the 848 because I've still got the red one I can ride. However, knowing that the 848 Streetfighter is way more comfortable than the 899, I figured the K100 is the best place to start. So here it is in the garage, ready to go. What do I know about this bike so far? All I know is that it's been sat for maybe 3 years. The guy I bought it off said that it did turn over, but that the fuel pump wasn't working, and he'd ordered one. I wanted to test that theory, and I tried to start the bike up to see if anything would happen at all. Here's the old key. It's quite hard to turn. I wonder if there's a way to change this key. So that's on. Nothing's happening with the ignition on. Nothing's happening here either. I don't actually know what these mean because there's no iconography explaining what it means. I think, as I mentioned before, I don't want to really start it anyway because when I lifted this tank up, and because this is sort of flapping off, in fact let's go around this side, might be a better angle, because that's not even attached and everything's loose in here. When I lifted this cap up, all this water just poured out into the tank, so I'll be pretty stupid to start that, I think. So the next step is, if nothing's happening up here, I'm going to assume that the battery is absolutely flat. Yeah, or the fuses. So I think to start with I'll check all those. So I've dug out my multimeter. Let's see what we've got going on down here. Take that gargantuan seat. It's horrendous. What is this? That looks like an ECU. Absolutely ginormous. Okay. Move that out of the way. So, terminals are exposed. Let's see what we've got. Got that on. 3.8. So yeah, I guess this battery's toast. There's probably not enough to get that instrument cluster working, is it? So I think the first thing to do is let's go and get a new battery. So I've scoured the forums because typically I didn't get any kind of user manual with the bike, and it seemed that someone has used this Yuasa YTX14 quite successfully. So let's get this in there and give it a go. So let's get this out. I've already tested it and it's got 13.4 volts, so I think we're all good on that front. This seems to be held in with some Phillips head screws and a block of wood. This side. I don't know if this is. Well, that's absolutely fragged. Let's move this up the way here. Probably going to have to replace those, but I've seen people use different battery trays, at least in different locations. Oh, that's in there hard. I'll probably end up stripping that if I go any tighter, so probably need a bit of WD-40 in there and let it settle for a bit. Not quite WD-40, GT85. Pretty sure it does the same thing. So let's squirt a bit of that in there and see what the crack is. Yeah, nothing. Can't even. Maybe some heat, but with a battery there, that's probably a bad idea, isn't it? So maybe I'll get this battery out before I do anything else. Doing this one-handed. It's actually quite a bit of a pain, so sorry for the shoddy camera work. Lift this out. Oh, it's heavy. So what do they have in there before? A Platinum CTM X20L BS. This is quite a bit different than the one I've got. It's a bit smaller. But yeah, let's quickly get that in there. And connect the terminals so we can see what we're playing with. Okay, so we've already had the first incident of what happens when an absolute punter decides to do any mechanicking or mechanics on a bike without any experience, and I made the assumption that the terminals would be in the same position. They were back to front, so that was a bit of a sharp wake-up call. Never assume, always look. So now I've connected this properly. Hopefully I've not completely fried the whole system, so I'm going to just turn the key and see if anything happens at all. And we've got nothing. I've probably blown all the fuses. So let's turn that off and see if there's anything crazy happening down this end now. What a wally. All the fuses, apart from this 10 amp one, replaced. But looking at it through the light, it all seems to be okay actually, so time to put that back in, and maybe something will happen this time. No, nothing at all. So, I don't really know anything, so this is quite an interesting thing for me. We've got battery power. I've replaced the fuses. Maybe there's an earth not working. We've got one coming off the battery here, and it goes all the way down into this casing, so perhaps maybe I'll clean that up. So, update, I can't get that earth off. The case being a steel bolt, maybe it's kind of like fused or something. So I guess the only option is to clean out these contacts. And I've been cleaning these fuses. I've basically sprayed some contact cleaner in there. I've got nothing really I can poke in there, so I've basically just been kind of giving it some of that with the fuse itself. But I've realised that old 10 amp fuse, which I didn't change, I can only see one connector in there. So I think the only thing to do next is to just take this tank off. I can't think of any other way to gain access to this fuse box to see what's going on, so that'll be the next thing. But I think I've kind of gone on long enough, so perhaps I'll leave this episode there, and in the next one we'll take this tank off. To give a bit of a recap, I've changed the battery. I've tried to clean the fuses as best I can from here. There's still nothing going on up there, and there's no signs of life whatsoever. But one of the fuses I noticed there isn't a female part to it, so actually it's effectively broken. So I think I need to get into there and see what's going on, and to do that I believe I need to take the tank off. So in the next episode we'll do that. I'll also take off all the different parts I don't like these horrible indicators here, this mud guard, this screen, the headlight and the indicators there, and these sort of radiator covers as well, because I think they need to come off anyway. But yeah, it's certainly a learning experience. As I said before, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm kind of, it's all just a bit of an adventure, really. Cool bike though, really excited to learn how it works. But as I say, I want to just see if I can get it on. I want to see some signs of life. I'm inclined to want to just strip it all down and just start cleaning from scratch, but I think it'll put my mind at ease if I can get it doing something, just to get an idea of what I actually need to replace, and the sort of journey ahead, really. Because I'm not made of money, I want to do it as cheap as possible. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to keep up to date with what I'm going to be doing, please like and subscribe. Auf Wiedersehen.